Let's talk about Dragon Age Veilguard. Okay, if you guys like what we do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Just get you through a couple hours of your day. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming out. All right, so it sure sounds like Electronic Arts thinks cutting Dragon Age the Veilguard's live service components was a mistake. If you guys remember, way back when, and a lot of you don't because you guys weren't here, let's be honest. Even when I was on 30 and Still Gaming's channel, or if you were following me on Twitch, I used to talk about Veilguard because they were talking about Veilguard, and it wasn't Veilguard then, it was Dreadwolf. At the time, Anthem came out. Anthem had the new Frostbite engine they were making into a co-op game, and then Anthem bombed. Okay, and when they moved from Anthem over to the BioWare for Dragon Age, what was it called again? I just said it, Dreadwolf. Okay, they wanted to make it a cooperative, right? Co-op, just like Anthem. They wanted to make it a live service, just like Anthem. All hands on deck went over to it, and they changed it. And at that moment, all those years ago, I said, do not buy this game when it comes out. Until last year when they said it wasn't Dreadwolf anymore, and then it went to Veilguard. And then Veilguard came out, and it just wasn't in my opinion, it wasn't a Dragon Age game, right? Now, I didn't play it, but, they didn't sell me on it, okay? Had nothing to do with all the stuff that was in the game that people were talking about. It just didn't look like Dragon Age to me. It didn't feel like Dragon Age to me, so I didn't play it, okay? So, and we all know what happened there. Many other people also didn't buy it or play it. So it says, it sure sounds like Electronic Arts thinks cutting Dragon Age Veilguard's live service components was a mistake. Now, CEO Andrew Wilson said Veilguard had high-quality launch and was well reviewed, but failed to resonate with the gamers who want shared world features. I think this is funny that it was well reviewed, but the public said no, okay? Dragon Age Veilguard had strong launch and solid reviews. Did it have a strong launch? I mean, I've said this before. I've said this all the time. When I post a video up and it does this in the very beginning, I'm like, oh, this could be the one. This could be the 1 out of 10. And if you guys don't know what 1 out of 10 is, 1 out of 10 is when you're a YouTuber and you post a video, it's your metrics. Like, this is going to be the #1 video that you've posted. And at the very start, just like he said, it had strong launch. So it looks really strong. Like 100 people watch it right away. And then all of a sudden it starts to plateau. Okay. And just because it launches well doesn't mean it's a good game, or doesn't mean it's a good video. Okay. So ultimately it fell significantly short, and EA's sales expectations leading to dramatic downsizing of BioWare. Except the companies addressed the questions of what went wrong during the today's quarterly financial call. And it sounds like CEO Andrew Wilson thinks the decision to ditch the live service elements of Veilguard was a mistake. To me, this is the most, like you're not looking at what's happening here, right? Andrew Wilson thinks that the reason the game failed was because it didn't have live service element, right? It didn't have that microtransaction, okay? Instead of just looking at what the game was, which was the writing, which was the gameplay, it wasn't a Dragon Age game. And on top of that, it was preaching to people, okay? It's just so blindly like looking at this and going, yeah, that's the reason. It's because it wasn't live service. So Q3 was not a financial performance he wanted to or expected. Wilson said during today's financial call, we know as a leader of global entertainment, great titles, even when built in delivery and polished execution, can sometimes miss our financial expectations. Again, expectations are different than the actual sale. Their game could be profitable, let's say 2 million copies. Their expectations is they thought they were going to sell 5 million copies, and because it only sold 2, okay, in my example, they're like, it underperformed, even though it still made profit for them. Now, I don't know if this made profit for them. I don't think it did, but that's what I hate when they said expectations, right? It fell short of our financial expectation, okay? Like, I could say I want 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but I only got 5. I'd be like, well, I fell short of my expectations. You could name whatever you want for your expectation, but in reality, did you make financial choices and were profitable in your choices? Okay, it says, quote, in order to break beyond the core audience, games need to directly connect to the evolving demands of players who increasingly seek shared world features and deeper engagement alongside high-quality narratives and a beloved category. Dragon Age had a high-quality launch and was well-reviewed by critics and those who played it. However, it did not resonate with a broad enough audience in a highly competitive market. Again, this is so blind and deaf, okay? The fact that chat, what do you think would have got more shit? Do you think if a Dragon Age game came out and it was a cooperative game like Anthem, do you think it would have worked well? Do you think people would have received it well because they changed the Dragon Age game, which is a single-player RPG, into a co-op game? At this point, I think you could just change the franchise. Like, if you want to make a Dragon Age game, just don't connect it to the other story of Dragon Age. Spin it off to another thing, right? Like The Walking Dead. had a television show, and then they did a spinoff in a different state. Okay, like do a different story. Don't connect the story type of thing, right? Directly, you can like pull a thread to it and say, hey, it is connected to this, but it's not direct connected to this. It's so ridiculous to think that they think if it came out as a live service game, it would be better received than if it wasn't. Okay, it says a lot of the words. To not say much, but I find that the last bit is interesting. It says, well known that Dragon Age, the Veilguard, was initially intended to have substantial live service components reflecting EA's commitment to live service games. But after Anthem tanked, development was shifted back to purely single-player experience. Wilson commented about the players wanting more shared world features and deeper engagement. Pretty strongly suggests to me that EA's views the absence of live service features rather than any particular failing of Veilguard itself, and as the real problem. Right, which is so tone deaf. So EA Chief Financial Officer Stuart Canfield echoed Wilson's statements in his own comments of Veilguard. Historically, blockbuster storytelling has been a primary way of our industry and has brought beloved IPs to players. The game's financial performance highlights the evolving industry landscape and reinforces the importance of the actions and relocates towards most significant of the highest potential opportunities. He says, lest there is any doubt, Wilson also noted during today's call that the live service represents 74% of EA's business specifically. As reported at EA's from 8K Felling, EA earned $7.347 billion in the calendar year of 2024. Of that, $5.44 billion came from live service and others. Do you see why they're tone deaf? They think because the live service of what happened to Madden or FC 25 with the Ultimate Teams and whatnot, they take that and go, well, if we just did that to that, then it would be fine because live service is what it is. Not every game needs to be live service. You can put live service, cool, but making Veilguard a live service game, I think would have bombed even harder, in my opinion. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, and we can't prove that, but based on what people were upset about for Veilguard, on top of the preaching, I don't see them coming out with a live service. Dragon Age would have been a better choice than what they did, okay? It says, referring to when it says most significant, the highest potential opportunities, especially since it refers to blockbuster storytelling in the past tense. Dragon Age appears to be done and over, and at least for now, but it's possible reassessment of the value single-player games could potentially have an impact on the next Mass Effect. Despite being officially confirmed in 2020, there's still only a core team that remains at BioWare working on it. And early today, Mass Effect Michael Gamble said that on X that the development is still in pre-production. Dragon Age: The Veilguard was reportedly in early production when the decision was made to strip out the live service components. Given how they worked out, perhaps we'll see a reverse for the next Mass Effect. I'm telling you right now, if Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect, okay, turns into a live service game, you're missing the point, EA. Android Wilson. Okay, you're missing the point because now you might have a circumstance where they're in pre-production, but look at Suicide Squad. Look at Suicide Squad. It was a game that shouldn't have been a live service game, okay? And because it was a live service game, it basically destroyed what the game was, even though the studio didn't want to make a live service game, but the executives said make a live service game, okay? EA wants to make the next Mass Effect potentially a live service game. And if they do that, that's done. BioWare's done. If EA, hear me out, because I'll come back to this video years from now, okay, and show you what I'm saying right now. If EA makes Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect, a live service game, that is done. BioWare is done. BioWare will go bye-bye because this is their last chance. And if their last chance is coming out with a live service game of Mass Effect, you're missing the point. You're missing what everyone's telling you. We do not want a live service game for Mass Effect. We do not want a live service, okay, for a lot of these single-player games. We just want Mass Effect, right? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching.